Welcome to Norfolk Perspective City Slice. I'm Bob Batcher, and I'm here with a very, very special person who's gone through some changes since the last time she sat on the sofa. Dr. Debbie DeCroce, how you doing?
I'm doing really fine.
You know, when I made that comment about you sitting on the sofa, I'm not sure if we had the sofa when you were on the show the last time.
I was trying to think what I was sitting on. I think it was a chair the last time.
You were with two other very powerful women in this region, university presidents.
I was indeed. I remember that.
So here you're going.
You're getting old.
We won't talk about when that show was either. But from the academic environment, where you're setting the future for the region through TCC. Did you know you were doing that?
Yep.
Okay, now, according to the paper, you're retired. Is that true?
Well, I retired from state service as president of Tidewater Community College, and I'm proud to say they as well honored me with the title of President Emerita.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't looking to retire. I was very, very happy at TCC and was looking to stay at least another 5 years or so and then figure out what to do. But as they say, life is what's happening while you're planning for something else. Members of the board, the then chair of the Hampton Roads Community Foundation Board, Harry Lester, came and started chatting with me, and Debbie Wynn and Paul Hirschbill and other members of the board. And the more we talked about the position, the more I thought, wow, what a wonderful second act. And as the saying goes, it was just an opportunity, a chance to continue to serve this region in a little bit broader capacity that I just couldn't pass up. So, you know, it's true. From TCC, you really can go anywhere.
I know it. There you are. Now, did your office move very far, though?
No, I'm just right up the road. I'm over in the World Trade Center now.
Yeah, just kind of...
Just a few blocks.
Close enough that you have to think in the morning, okay, where do I...
Well, I'll tell you, the first day I was driving in to my job, you know, I closed my office door the end of February, the last day in February of last year at TCC, and in true DeCroce modus operandi, I showed up for work the very next morning at 7:30 for a meeting, and I shouldn't you're the first person I'm confessing this to.
And nobody
I forgot the turn on Waterside Drive to turn into World Trade Center and kept going down Bush Street to go over into the TCC Green Building, and I had to circle around, come up, do a U, and come up very discreetly. And had to come back up to get my new space. Okay,
now you were joining a fairly young organization with deep, deep roots
in this region, and particularly in Norfolk. You know, the foundation goes back to 1950, when a handful of respected business leaders in Norfolk decided it was time that a community foundation was launched here. So they started with $2,500. They pooled resources, $2,500.
Wow.
All right, fast forward to today, there's 750 of these foundations, community foundations in the country. We're the 50th largest.
Wow.
Aspects of $250 million. A few years ago, in 2010, we joined forces with the Virginia Beach Foundation, which has its beginnings in 1987. And so it's the result of the Norfolk Foundation with its strong roots in 1950 and the Virginia Beach Foundation in 1987 that has in effect created the Hampton Roads Community Foundation.
Okay, now I'm confused. Are you a philanthropy organization, a advocacy organization? Because I read about all the money you give away to the arts.
Right.
And then I hear about the wonderful engagement you have with Park Place and ODU and bringing people together and collaboration. So,
well,
so what is the organization?
We're a little bit of all the above. I mean, community foundations are just wonderful entities. I mean, and I've learned a lot about them in the past 10 months or so.
I was going to say, more than you knew before going in?
Crash course. Crash course. And you know, they're autonomous, nonprofit entities that are not tied to a specific purpose in terms of serving a specific need, but instead are tied to reflecting the community they serve and to the fullest extent possible, making a difference in the life of that community through the generosity of individuals who have entrusted their funds and their monies to the foundation to do good and do well with it. So anything we do is a direct result of donors who come from all walks of life and who have invested their monies with us in, for example, through their wills, through plan giving, which, by the way, is a wonderful way and a very easy way to continue to do good as a legacy, through donor-advised funds, where they actually play a role in shaping where their monies might support an aspect of community. But in all those ways, it is about making a connection to what the needs are in the community and how we might help play a role in addressing those needs. So the one side of it then is what I like to say is the fundamental philanthropic piece of the do good that we do. For example, this past year, we put almost $15 million on the street in the form of grants to some 150 nonprofits, our very strong partners in the area, while at the same time offering scholarship support to some 350 students. Right? That's fundamental to what we do. I dare say you're not going to find a project of great import to, whether you're talking the city of Norfolk or you're talking more broadly about this region, that the Hampton Roads Community Foundation hasn't had its fingerprints on. Whether it's the zoo, the symphony, whether it's the arts festival, the food bank, St. Mary's Home, For Kids, Old Dominion, EVMS, TCC, Norfolk State. I mean, you go on and on and on. We're there. And we'll continue to be there in the best of philanthropic intent and support. At the same time, what the more progressive community foundations across the country do, remember I said there are about 750 of them, and we are the 50th largest. We have resources of a sufficiency that there is this select group of community foundations that take it a step further, and they engage as well in the life of their community by attempting to take on some of the larger, shall we say, public policy, the messier issues of public policy, and trying to move those forward in some way. So, example, most everybody knows what Smart Beginnings is, right? And the difference that has made by reducing by half the number of kindergartners who aren't successful in that first launch of their formal education. Imagine that, half of that. And that now has birthed a difference, made a difference at the state level, where the state has actually adapted and adopted some of the fundamental principles that were applied through Smart Beginnings here in Hampton Roads. All right, that's an issue. That's one we took on early on. You mentioned Park Place. That's another one where we're joining forces with the City of Norfolk, with Old Dominion University, who of course has a stake in what's going on out there, and most importantly with the residents and the neighborhoods, and saying how might we work together. Landmark Foundation is part of this. How might we all work together and take this wonderful place called Park Place and create a sustainable difference in this neighborhood, so that it is a neighborhood of choice for the long haul for everybody. And of course, we played a role. We have our fingerprints on the Y, the new Y. That's going to be such an important part of that. So that's a piece. And then as I mentioned before we started, and I was joking, and I said, we've taken on this larger thing called regional economic competitiveness. We're going to fix that, then we're going to take on world peace, by the way.
I was going to say, I'm ready.
We're taking on world peace, and we're going to be successful.
Well, and you mentioned like Smart Beginnings. Not only, I mean, it's a smart beginning not just for those kids, but it's also become a model for other startups. Park Place, the visioning process that took place there. You came in, you provided the financial resources, but then that commitment to be at the table has helped create a model that we're now building, into Neighbors Building Neighborhoods citywide.
Right, and sometimes it's about, it's the spark. Sometimes, I mean, there's so much good going on across our community. Sometimes it's about just leveraging what's there and bringing all the players together in the name of, partnership, this notion of leveraging individuals' strengths to be more than the sum of their parts. Something that, in many ways, what was so fundamental to my presidency at TCC, it's the same sort of thing that the Hampton Roads Community Foundation is trying to do, and is so good at.
At the beginning, when I introduced you as you're now the president of this new organization with great roots. Now, within the organization, though, bringing two cultures together, was it two separate kind of backgrounds and cultures?
Well, yeah, I mean, a little bit of beach, a little bit of Norfolk, but imagine what you get when you take a little bit of beach and a little bit of Norfolk and pull the best of all that together. You get a whole, the likes of which you couldn't get independent.
So are we kind of getting distracted in this whole conversation about what are we called? Well,
I have to tell you.
You're one of the first organizations.
Well, and I must say, I mean, I was born and raised here, so I've been through all the names. I'm born a stone's throw from here over the Naval Hospital, but the old
no, I'm not going to go there.
Okay. In Portsmouth. And I'm less hung up on what we're called right now, and more engaged in aspirationally, what do we want to be? And I think that's the far more exciting conversation right now. Now, if in the course of the conversation on what should we be called, we actually dialogue about and debate the aspirational piece of it, then I'm all for it. But I'm less concerned. I mean, you're looking at someone who was president of an entity that was called Tidewater Community College for 15 years. So maybe there's a little bit of that writing on.
But Debbie, can I ask you in front of the camera then that we keep this conversation going with other shows and maybe bring some people in?
Oh, I would love to.
And let's make that sofa a place for conversation about what's good for Hampton Roads in the future.
Absolutely. I'm going to hold you to that and look forward to working with you in that respect.
Welcome aboard.
Well, thanks.
To a whole new organization.
It's beginning again. The old becomes the new, and the new becomes the old.
Well, and thank you for taking interest, and thank you for investing in the future of whatever we're called.
Well, inspiring philanthropy and changing lives.
There we go.
How about that?
Thank you. Sounds good. Thanks for joining us.